This is Greg Harden. He's one of the talented artists here at Big Idea Studios. He's going to show you how to draw Frankencelery from Tales from the Crisper.
So we start with a really tall rectangle. And then try to find about where the halfway mark is on him. Should be about there. And you're going to know that his eyes and his nose and all of his, pretty much all of his face is going to be above the halfway mark. So draw his first eye, pretty big. And then he's got this really long, skinny, bulbous nose. And then his other eye is a lot smaller than the first eye, so it's only like this big. And then draw his pupils. And then put a bit of a curve into his back. And then again on his front. And then these are kind of his legs, I guess you could call them. That's why we put the curve in here. So it kind of looks like a leg here and kind of like one here. And then we'll give him his smile. Okay, now let's go ahead and give him his Frankenstein hair. And of course he's got to have his bolts. And give him some eyelids. And his monobrow. Okay, from here we can pretty much start coloring in. Put a highlight in his eye. Erase the middle mark. It's not supposed to be there. And anywhere else you think you might want to get rid of. And we got Frankencelery.
This is Greg Harden. He's going to show you how to draw the little monsters from Junior's bedroom.
They're all balls. They pretty much are balls with eyes on them. So the first guy you're going to draw a circle, and you'll draw the first eye, and the second eye you're going to draw behind it. And this guy doesn't even have a nose. And I'm going to have him make him looking this way, so draw his pupils. And his mouth. And then he has a mohawk, this blue mohawk. So I'll make it kind of come in front just a little bit. And it's gonna like wrap around back here behind his head. Kind of like that. Second guy, draw another circle. And he has a nose, but we'll draw the eyes first. And his nose is a little wider. And I'm gonna have him looking this way too. Draw his eyelids. And his smile. And this guy has got little pink spots all over him. Some of them I'm drawing so they're behind him, and some of them I'm drawing in front. Like this one would be in front, and this one's behind. Okay, and then the third one, draw another ball, and we'll draw him from the front this time, so we'll put his nose right there in the middle, and his egg-shaped eyes, just for fun. I'm gonna make him cross-eyed. Give him kind of a silly look. And he's got spikes all over him. So we'll draw some in front and some in back. And if you want, you can go ahead and color in, you can darken into their eyes. So now just remember to color in the eyes if you want to. And you got the monsters from Junior's bedroom.
This is Greg Harden. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw the car from the Grapes of Wrath.
Well, we're going to draw the Grapes' car. And to do that, you have to start off with a long and skinny box. So we'll just go ahead and draw this box. And this is going to be our guide to show us how to draw this thing. Now let's go about halfway in the middle of this car, and this is where the door is going to be. Here in this section, we're going to draw the fender, which kind of pops off of the car like this. And back here we'll draw the same thing. Okay, and then we're going to draw a really long and skinny wheel, because the car likes to bounce around and the wheel takes all kinds of weird shapes. So it's not a perfect circle. And you draw the spokes coming out from the middle. And back here we're going to make the wheel go a little bit taller instead of fatter. We'll make it more up and down. And drawing all the spokes. Okay, so now let's kind of put the door a little bit lower than the rest of the car. And come on up. And let's see, that follows there. Then we do the grill on the front. And basically what you're going to do here is draw this shape right here. And then we add in all the grill work. It's just all these vertical lines. And there's this little decorative ornament that kind of looks like a VeggieTales character on the front of the car. Okay, so now we're going to follow from here where the door starts, kind of the same shape that we drew here. We're going to draw it right here and make it go up and make it go down, just following that same shape that you see right there. And then there's a connector piece that goes back to it. And when we get back here to the back of the car, it kind of rises up a little bit. Like this stays low, and this goes higher to about there. And then we'll follow it across, just like the box. Remember how when we originally drew the box, the top of the box is shaped like this? Well, we're going to follow the same way and go across and draw this higher part of the car. And then it follows this shape right here and goes down. You can even draw a line to connect it if you want. And then this goes down just like it does here and goes across like that. So now we're going to draw the windshield. And it goes up kind of like this. And also kind of follows that shape, that direction of the car, and goes across. And in the middle, connecting to this connector piece, we'll put the middle of the windshield. So now we've got to put the guardrails up for where the kids sit. So it's two pieces of wood that come here from kind of the start of the back of the car. And then the cross pieces. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side and follow that the same direction as the rest of the car is going, like that. And we're going to kind of make it about the same height going over here on the back side of the car. And it's got the connector pieces as well. Okay, and you can erase some of the construction lines when you get done. There we go. Let's see, we need to put the handle on the door. And we need to put the steering wheel on it so Pa can drive the car. And then for the very last thing, we got to make sure that we put on the lamp, the headlights. And you can even kind of draw another wheel over here if you want. And erase some more construction lines. And you got the Grapes' car.
This is Greg Harden. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw Palmy the palm tree.
We'll start off with the trunk of the tree right in the middle of your paper. Kind of give it a bit of a curve so it's a little more interesting than just a straight up tree trunk. Kind of cap it off, and then about 3/4 of the way up, you're going to go ahead and draw 2 circles for his eyes. Go ahead and give him his nose, and the pupils in his eyes, looking straight out at us. And we'll give him a big happy smile. Let's put the eyelids. Okay, now for his leaves, it's kind of going to be like his hair. We're going to start off in the middle of this would be like the top of his head, and we'll start going out like this, and we'll kind of just imagine how each of these leaves kind of spreads out from the middle of his head, kind of all these different directions. And then we'll start in the middle, and we'll draw one coming towards us, because a leaf from a side view kind of looks like this. But we're going to draw the point of it coming towards us right here, and then we'll draw another one going off like this. And another one right there. And then this one will kind of fall back behind. It would even kind of curve down back behind a little bit there. And another one going like that. Do some in the back. And if you think about how the leaves go dimensionally, they kind of go back here and they hide behind these 2 leaves in the front. And they come in the back. This will do the same. Kind of see it pop through the back. And we'll put another one there. So now we put the leaves on the tree. Try to spread them out so that they're not equally spaced. And then you can go ahead and put some of the rings on the tree if you want, on the palm tree. Put highlights in his eyes. Go ahead and darken his eyes. And darken his mouth. And then I like to thicken up my line just to make it pop off of the page more and look better. And then don't forget to put the coconuts up here at the top of his head. And I think in the movie, they even have happy faces on them sometimes. You can do that if you want. You got Palmy.
This is Greg Harden. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw my wind-up lobster.
Then we're going to make him coming towards us. So we start off with his head, which is kind of this weird, almost like a oval shape. Kind of comes to a point though, and it kind of comes back around, goes like this. So if anything, it almost looks more like a soft triangle. And then it comes back, and we're going to be going back this way. So we're going to put his body right here, which is just kind of a circle that hides behind this part. And then we're going to draw the back part of his body, kind of the shell that goes like this. And it's just kind of an oval as well. So from here, we'll go ahead and we'll draw here, kind of in the middle, what would be the middle of his back, this the key that winds him up. Put 2 circles in there. And then we'll put his eyes here in the front. So one goes right here, and one goes right here. And you can make his eyes looking off in any kind of direction you want, his pupils, because they don't really ever look in the same direction. So we've got all this, and we need to put on his tail. So his tail kind of goes like this, and it comes in the middle, and there's a little triangle right there. So we've got all of his body for the most part, and we got to put on his claws. So they come out, and they're nice and big. And since he's made out of plastic, there's little joints and things right in here that kind of show that he was made. And then there's another one right back here behind his head. Okay, so now what we get to do is we get to draw kind of like his arms. So we got one that comes out here from the middle of his body towards his claws. And then he's got two more that come and they branch out and they stick on the ground. Like that. You can even draw a little bit there if you want. And then there's some ribs here on the back of his body that kind of come around like this. And then you can just kind of clean it up. You can erase, if you drew these lines like I did, you can erase them. Maybe show the inside of this key by just drawing these little lines. And then erasing a construction line right there. Maybe erasing these three construction lines. And drawing it back in. And you got the blue mechanical lobster.
This is Greg Harden. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw the U.S.S Applepies.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the pie plate. So we're going to make this big circle. Well, it's more of an oval than a circle, I guess, which is the bottom of the pie plate. And then we'll draw the rest of the pie tin, which kind of angles out and then curves back around and follows the shape of that oval and connects right there. And then we get to draw the crust of the pie that kind of waves and goes like this and wraps around back behind. So if we'll kind of find the middle of the bottom of this plate and come down, because this is going to connect to the to the main part of the ship. So from here, we draw this circle, which is part of the engine, and we draw the rest of the bulk of the ship. Make that a little bit bigger. Okay, now we got to put the big old rocket engines on this thing. So they come right here, and they go back like this. And they have these neat little curls on the end. And then we're going to go ahead and draw the other rocket engine that's here on the back side, on the other side of the ship, that goes back behind here, kind of curls around, and comes back. And we have to draw the connecting pieces. That's this weird shape. And there's some kind of fancy grill work that goes across here on this circle. We can't forget the logo of the U.S.S Applepies. Let's make it look like Saturn, which is a circle with two rings around it. Well, one ring with maybe a little flag sticking out of it. And then to kind of make this look more like a pie tin, we're going to add the little ribs that show it kind of curling around, and they kind of dissipate as they get closer to the middle. So from here, you can just kind of clean it up and erase some of our construction lines. So we had a construction line right here, and we have them here on this shape. And you might even want to draw another one of these little connector pieces. And then you can draw little stars of space if you want. I'd rather draw the stars than sit here and color the background. And you can even draw planets. We could draw another Saturn. Basically, it's a ball with a ring around it. Or the moon. You just have all kinds of fun. That's the apple pies.
Hi kids, I'm Tim Hodge, one of the artists here at Big Idea, and today I'm going to show you how to draw one of my favorite characters from Dave and the Giant Pickle, the sheep. The sheep are very simple to draw. Let's start off with a very light, let me just get my hand going here, very light oval on its side, just not quite a circle. At this point, it can turn into just about anything. Be Bob the Tomato, or we're going to do a sheep. Now right off to the side, not in the center, off to the side, we're going to draw the sheep's head. Like a big U shape. Get it? U? Okay. Draw his eyes in here. Just two little circles. There. And right in the middle, draw his pupils. Just little ovals and leave a little dot for a highlight. Now off to the side, get these little flaps for his ears. Everything's nice and round and curvy. Don't worry about not being able to draw a straight line, because we're not doing any of those. Just coloring the top of his head there. Coloring his face and his ears. Let's go back and find the lines we like and darken those in. See, cute little sheep face there, and you can even put his nose, just little black dots near the bottom for him to breathe through. Okay, and now we're going to do his legs. Now the sheep legs in Dave and the Giant Pickle were almost just little sticks, not a lot of joints or detail on them. So right underneath his head, come down, and very wide near the top. And they go inside the circle here, the big circle that's its body. See that? Come down just little points. Now there are his front legs, almost right underneath his head. And his back legs, they're going to go behind the body there, because they're going to be covered up with some of his fleece and wool. Now we're not going to leave his body just a circle like that. I'm going to go around here and draw big, soft, round shapes. Big, fluffy ones. Big ones and small ones. Big one up here, maybe a couple small ones together. Make him a big, fluffy sheep. There, you see that? A couple right here where his legs tuck into the wool. And put a shadow underneath him because he's standing out in the hot, hot sun. And there you go. One, a little David sheep. A very fun and easy character to draw. Hi kids, I'm Tim Hodge, an artist here at Big Idea, and today we're going to draw Goliath from Dave and the Giant Pickle. So let's get started. Now first of all, he's a tall character. Let's turn your paper this way, vertically, to make sure we can fit them all on here. Again, as always, draw light at first. Goliath, like a big oval, kind of a stretched out egg, because he's wider near the bottom than he is at the top. That also helps him to look taller, because it's got more of a perspective on it. Alright. Big pickle shape there. I'm going to draw his eyes. One eye's almost going to be a perfect circle. Again, draw light. The other, kind of an oval shape there. His nose in the middle. He's leering down at young David. I'm going to put squinty eyelids at him. Little curvy lines here and here. And his pupils down there resting on his bottom eyelid. Look at him glare. Let's leave little highlights in his eyes too, like we do everybody else. Darken in those eyelids. Yeah, pretty ferocious, huh? Okay, let's give him his eyebrows up from this one. This nice curve up in the air. Let's put 1, 2, 3 little kind of sawtooth points up there and color them in. And this one, let's make this one go a little lower. It's not so even. Again, 1, 2, 3 little points on it. There. See how we start light and then darken in the important lines. And Goliath isn't a real happy character. Sneering down, so let's put a frown on him. Just a slight, not a big frown, just kind of a disgruntled, poking his lip up there, just a little curve. Right below that, right in the middle. See, his mouth is off to the side. Let's put his chin. It's kind of a sideways oval, but don't close it up. It's more or less just kind of drawing the shadow there, see? Okay, now if you remembered, he's wearing these boxing shorts. So right about a little bit lower than halfway. Nice curved line, curve it upwards, because we're looking up at him, so the perspective would make it curl upwards. 2 lines like that. That's his waistband. Elastic waistband. And right in the middle, we've got the label for it, like all boxers do. And if you draw these lines slightly curved in, not perfectly straight, a little more character to it, looks nicer. And his boxing shorts come straight down, but again, draw a little bit, just a slight little curve, makes it look better. And the bottom, another little, this is almost straight, see that, but it curves up just a little bit, and it hangs around to the side. And that's where his body comes out the bottom here. See? And let's make him standing on the hill, like that. Now, he also wore boxing gloves, which was a neat trick because he didn't have any hands. But from the front, they're going to look almost just like circles. So let's start with a circle on either side. Very light. One's a little higher than the other. See? Kind of looks like he's lining up for a big punch. First start out with his thumb. His thumb is like this backwards C shape. There, just like that. And then off the top of that, we'll draw the fist part of the glove. Follow your light lines around and tuck it up right underneath his fist there. Right, his fist. Tuck it right up underneath his thumb. And then the base of his thumb comes around that way. You see how it overlaps his body a little bit, so that way it looks like it's in front of it. It's not floating off to the side. And this way we're going to draw the same thing, only just the opposite. So over here we're going to do another boxing glove, almost the exact opposite of this one. So this thumb just kind of goes over this way. And the base of his thumb covered in front of it. And then big round boxing glove. There you go. Goliath had these little like whiskers growing out of him too, so every so often put a little whisker off to the side. Maybe a little bumps on him too, like pickles have. He's one giant gherkin, isn't he? There we go. And some wrinkles in his boxing shorts there. Say 2 on this side and 3 on this side, so it's a little uneven. There. And there you have it. Pretty easy character to draw, wouldn't you say? Big, mean old Goliath.
Hey kids, I'm Tim Hodge, and today I'm going to show you how to draw the fib from Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space. So grab a piece of paper, your favorite pencil, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to draw standing up, but you can draw sitting on a table however you want. And we're going to start drawing big. Use your whole shoulder. Don't just draw with your fingertips. Draw your whole shoulder. You'll end up better. Okay, we're going to start drawing loosely and lightly. Just let your pencil kind of lightly kiss the paper there. Start with one circle, about like that. We're going to build them kind of like a snowman. Because if you remember, the fib, by the end of the story, got really, really big. So let's draw another circle underneath him. It's a little bit bigger. And a third circle. Now real light too, because you're not going to use all these lines. And a third circle right underneath here. Now don't put them all in the center. See, on this side it's almost a straight line up and down, and it kind of stacks out because he's kind of standing with his tummy sticking out here. That's right down the front. Okay. He started out as a head, remember that in the story, but this is going to be his head right here and his whole body. And we're going to draw his feet underneath here in a moment. Let's get back to his face. For his nose, he's got kind of a squash circle, kind of a sideways oval here. Just like that. You see that? And his eyes. Again, two sideways ovals. Like that. And underneath, right about here, about halfway between the nose and the bottom of that circle, we'll draw his mouth. Now, these little details, you can tighten up your fingers here a little bit. But the fib's frowning, so we start with just an upside down U. To make it look even better, make the ends of that U a little wider. See that? Like these little teardrop shapes? Right there. Put a little flare on it. Now his eyes, let's draw his eyelids. They're kind of at half mast because he's not a very happy fib. And put his pupils in there like that. Two little circles. And color them in black, but leave a little bit of a light space over there, a highlight for his eye. And then his eyelid on the underneath side, curve the other way. See the top one? Curve up, the bottom one curve down, just like that. And then we can darken the lines around his eyes like that. And his nose. That is not a happy fib, is it? No. And you remember he had this little thing on top of his head, kind of like a teardrop upside down. And that real thin one stuck to his body there. I have no idea what that was, but there it is. Okay, now his arms, you remember as he got bigger, he got these big arms. Big long arms, but they're kind of skinny, kind of look like rubber hoses. So you draw like this little shallow U shape right in there, and one right underneath it. And his hands are a little bit easier to draw than most hands because he only has 3 fingers. So on the end of this, draw us like a little backwards S shape, and then curve it around to make 1 finger. His fingers are thicker on the ends than they are where they attach to his hands. And get another finger over here, thick on the ends, skinny at the base, and then his thumb down here at the bottom. Again, thick on the end and skinnier at the base. And you put a little overlap right there. See that little line that cuts into that? It helps that feel like it's folding like that, like your thumbs do. And, okay, on this side, another arm. Make sure it's the same height as this arm. You don't want to draw it too low or too high. They come out about the same spot. There. Another U shape and one right underneath it. See that? These skinny arms and these big old hands. Yeah, it's kind of a curvy line here. Thick fingers to thin. Thick to thin. See that? And then his thumb on this side too. Thick and thin. Okay. And of course he has to have his feet too. So down at the bottom, he has short little legs, just like this, that curve in like that. Just see it curves in on that side, in on that side. That's his little leg. And his feet, these big floppy things. And doesn't have any toes, just one big foot, like he's wearing a slipper. It's thick on the end and then skinny on the back on the heel. On this side there's another one. Let's finish this up underneath him. A leg on this side. Again, it curves in that way, curves in that way. There. Got his heel, and a big floppy foot. And he can march around Bumbleberg and step on cars and things. Okay, now let's finish up his body since we have everything in place. Let's make a nice dark line right here. Kind of follow the end of the circles there and bring it on around. Same on this. Don't draw in here. That would look like a snowman. Just kind of follow that shape on around like that. Big blobby fib. And if you remember also, he had these bumps all over his body. And just like little, just kind of like little ovals. Now that one's on the front side of his face, and if you draw like half an oval right there next to that line, see, it makes it look like it's on the other side of him. And here, this one, let's put one right here, right on this shoulder. You can put them anywhere you want to on him. Just make some big, some little. Put one on the back side again there. Let's do a big one and a little one. See that? I've got those bumps everywhere. Now, if you take your pencil again and hold it on its side, and very carefully, very lightly, just put a little shadow on him. Make him look huge and big. See that? Just slightly color kind of a gray all the way around here. Put a little on his bottom of his feet, like that. And then a great big shadow underneath him, just like that. And that, my friend, is the fib from outer space. Hope you had fun. Hi kids, I'm Tim Hodge, and today we're going to draw Larry's car, the Larrymobile. So get your favorite pencil, a piece of paper, and again, as I always say, draw big, draw from the shoulder. And we're going to draw not just the side, not just the front. We're going to show it what we call 3/4. It's going to be kind of pointing at you. It's going to be kind of diagonal this way. So don't start too near either edge of the paper, okay? The Larrymobile is kind of shaped like a big capsule. Just like that. If you're real careful, you could make it slightly bigger on this end, a little thinner on this end, because you know when things get closer to you, they get bigger, right? Well, the front of the car is closer to you than the back, so let's draw this side a little bit bigger, this side a little bit thinner. You see that? Okay. Now if you get right along the top of it, let's just draw a light line just for reference. Okay. And right at the back, there's this fin that comes up right over the top. If you notice, there's the Larrymobile in the first show is a little different than in the second. We're going to draw the second one here. On the end of it, there's a little circle. And then draw these two curves right here, because it has an edge, this fin on the top, and it curves right over the driver's seat here. Let it come right down to that light line you drew here. See that? Okay. And again, draw lightly at first, and when you find the lines you like, you darken them up. There we go. Now right in here, that's the driver's seat where Larry sits, and it's got this window over it. Let's draw this nice big curve like that, because it comes off the front, and bring it all the way down here, and it stops about halfway down. You see that? It's a big curve, and it stops in the form of this angle. It's point and go a straight line, as straight as you can make it, up this way, not right underneath it. Stop short, because we're going to draw a curved line this way. See, it follows the curve of the body of the car. Is it starting to make a little sense? There. That's the driver's seat. Larry Boy sits right in there to drive. The Larrymobile, if you ever notice, looks kind of like Larry lying down. And if his face were right here where the window is, he'd have his belt right here. So let's draw these curved lines, stripe that goes right around the edge. You see that? You can put his little kind of a circle, sideways an oval there, circle there for the buckle. And right up here, draw this curved line that starts along the straight line we did on the driver's seat, and right curves back around. This is like the collar. Now if you turn your head sideways, does that look a little bit like Larry Boy? That should. And right on the front, there's this like jet engine turbine intake. So let's draw this oval right on the front, this sideways oval. It's kind of slanted this way. See that? And inside of that is this kind of cone that sticks out. So we're going to draw a curve this way, comes to a little point, and a curve underneath that way. And then, very lightly, let's shade in that. Not all the way black, it's kind of grayish there. And that's the turbine where the air comes in, goes into that jet engine, and shoots out the back. Now the Larrymobile doesn't have tires, does it? It's got these big plungers, just like the plungers on either side of his head. Like if I said, if this was Larry's body lying down, he'd have a plunger on this side. Let's just draw a big circle, not perfectly round, so if you have trouble drawing perfectly round circles, you're in luck, because we're not drawing perfectly round circles. But to make it look like a plunger, you has to have that edge. So let's draw another circle right inside that. Skinny on this side. See how that's just a little skinny and it's fat on this side? And then right in the middle there, we'll draw another circle. That's where the axle will fit in. And we can shade that in. This is concave. It curves inward, so the shadow's inside there. And then you see part of the tire on this side, but it's a little easier to draw because you just draw two little curves like that. That's all you see of it over there. Now down here, of course, there's another tire. Well, plunger. And then right inside it, draw another one. Again, leave a thick opening on this side and a skinny one on this side. Makes that lip of the plunger go all the way around. You see that? Now you can make these other lines darker. Starting to make a little sense there. See that? Just follow that curve around. Oh, put that axle in there and shade that in a little. Just like that. Let's draw on the lines. Of course, the other plunger on the other side, we only see part of it. So just draw a nice little curvy shape right there. Put a little shadow under the edge and underneath the Larrymobile. If you want to have some real fun, what you do is you draw an S shape just like this, almost like the letter S, kind of a curvy lightning bolt shape like that, and another one right beside it. It starts real close at the top and farther apart at the bottom, so it's thick to thin. And then you color in the rest of the glass, make it look kind of dark. And then where you drew those S's, it leaves a nice shiny highlight. Make it look real spiffy. And then you can come over back on the backside, put some speed lines on it. Make it look like he's driving real fast. Just put some lines that are close, some that are far, just like think him speeding down the streets of Bumbleberg. Just like that. There, my friend, you have the Larrymobile. Hope you had fun. We'll see you next time.
This is Tom Owens. He's a story artist here at Big Idea. He's going to show you how to draw Madame Blueberry.
Okay, today we're going to draw Madame Blueberry. She's really easy to draw. She's just kind of a circle that's a little bit narrower on the top, so it's a little bit slightly teardrop shaped. A little over halfway up, we'll draw our eye line where our eyes will sit and put her nose. And then her eyes go almost all the way to the top of her head, and again they're a similar shape as her body, kind of rounded teardrop shape. And then she's kind of half lidded. And draw our pupils in. Under the eyelids. Then her lower eyelid is pretty pronounced as well, so we'll double that line on the bottom. Make the upper eyelid have a really pronounced line on it indicating eyelashes. Under here she's got a very small mouth. And a mole on her face. Then actually behind her eyes we'll draw another line here, and this is where her hat sits. And the hat is a sort of a simple shape. There's a jewel on the front of it, so we'll draw like a circle and then put like a octagon on the front of it. And then from the points radiate those out to the edge and double this line up so that she's got like a diamond on the front of her hat. And then out from under here, her hair comes out and sort of curls around into her face. And then she has like a feather boa around her neck. Again, she's really easy to draw. And that's pretty much it. That's Madame Blueberry.
This is Tom Owens. He's a story artist here at Big Idea. He's going to show you how to draw one of the Stuff Mart salesmen.
These guys are tall and thin. They're basically like green onions. At the top of their head, we divide them up into 3 stalks of different heights to make it kind of interesting. We don't want them all to be the same exact height or shape. Then they kind of drop down real long and thin. Somewhere a little above the center, we'll draw their eye line and their nose. Their noses are kind of long ovals. These guys' eyes are actually bigger than their face, so they kind of hang off to the side like this and would draw kind of egg shapes. And then draw his eyelids and his pupils. Then under that, I'll kind of double this line up and make his lower eyelid. Above his eyes, we'll draw like where his hat sits, just a line indicating that the hat is sitting around this point. And then he's got a flat-brimmed hat that we'll draw around there, and then the top of the hat that his stalks are sticking through. And then double that line up and color it in for his hat band. And these guys are kind of sneaky, so we'll draw him smiling kind of out of the side of his mouth. Just under their mouth, we'll do another line, and this is where their neckline is going to be. So I'm going to start by putting in their bow tie. And then if you figure that the center of the front of the guy is where everything is going to come to, draw kind of a line down here, and then everything points to it. This is the neckline of the jacket. Up in here we'll put like a button, and then the collar that wraps around his body for his jacket. Drop that down just a little bit wider than his body to indicate that it's got some thickness. And then the jacket has a plaid pattern on it, so we'll just kind of do a checkerboard pattern on it and double up this line down here, indicating that like his shirt is hanging out from under his jacket. And then down the center we'll add 3 buttons. And there you have the salesman.
This is Joseph Pulich. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw Larry Boy. Be sure to get my good side.
What I usually do is just kind of do a line right smack dab in the center of where his body's going to be, and then start out with his body. Just keep it real loose, don't worry about anything. Usually arch him a little bit like that. I'm just using a marker right now. There we go, that looks pretty good, just like that. Give him a little attitude. This side is a little bit smoother and this one has a little more detail to it, a little more movement. So usually one side has more movement, one side is a little more simpler. We do this character quite a bit at Ronald McDonald House at Loyola Medical Center. The children love to draw Larry Boy. Okay, so all you have to do is draw a straight line like that, and that's going to be his mask. And the nose goes right smack dab in the center of his body and in the center of that line on both sides. So we got that, and now we're going to throw his eyes in. And since our characters don't have any moving hands or arms, the eyes are very important because that is going to convey most of the acting in our characters. So you have these eyeballs are going to go in there, and then the center of the eyeballs, the pupils are going to go like that. Now make sure you leave a little highlight in there. You could start to put a little bit more black in there. Just make sure you leave a little room for the eyeball highlight. And now let's define his hat a little bit more. And we're going to put his fin up on top. And now we're going to put in his suction cups on both sides. They come out a little bit. And once you draw that, and make sure that they're not perfectly straight, that you're kind of whacked out a little bit. That's one side. You can make one bigger, and then you can make this one here a little bit smaller. Just make sure they're not perfectly in line with one another. A little bit bigger, a little smaller over here. And now we put in his mouth, and he's always got to have a little smile to him. And his tooth. And just color that in. And you smooth that out a little bit. And give him a little bit more body over here. And we have to give him some clothes, little superhero clothes. And it's kind of a combination of Elvis Presley and a superhero. And then he's got his ties here like little buttons. And his big Elvis Presley belt buckle. LB, Larry Boy. Okay, now let's put a little detail in there like that. Makes it look like there's a belt. And if you give him a little shadow. And we're going to put a little background there. Make sure it continues. And you can put a little tower up here. And a couple of windows. And you have a whole city suggested in the background. And put your signature in there and you're all set.
This is Joseph Pulich. He's an artist here at Big Idea Studios. Today, he's going to show you how to draw the Larry plane.
So let's start with our perspective lines, because this airplane or this Larry Boy mobile is going to be coming out at you. So we're going to start from this point to that point, just like that. And we're going to sketch in some of these lines so that right now we have really 3 lines. This is your middle point, your middle line, and now the perspective lines. And these lines are all going to go up to a point and meet in space up there. So they all go to a point right up here. And that kind of starts to show that there's perspective. As the plane is coming closer to you, it's bigger, it's larger. As it goes farther away, it starts to get smaller. So right now we've already shown that we're going to have some perspective in this. So we also, since we have the perspective lines for here, we have to kind of figure out where the perspective is going to be coming from on this line too. So we're going to just start to indicate that here with our grayscale marker. So now we have kind of a nice idea of where our perspective is actually going. These lines going this way, these lines are all going to a point in space that meet over here. Now we're going to start with the probably this area right here, which is the cockpit. And the hood of the Larry Boy mobile. It's indicated this way. Very loose. We're just indicating where this stuff is going to probably be, but we're not committing to it right now. You can hold your pen this way if you would like to, and just sketch very loosely like this, or you can hold it like you're actually going to print or write something out. We're going to indicate the tail, and we're going to make sure that our wheels are actually in perspective. So we draw our lines in like that. And these are plunger cups for wheels. We thought that'd be really funny, kind of taking what was on his character already. Now I could step back a little bit and take a look at this. That's Larry Boy mobile. That looks pretty cool, but we have to adjust this to actually make it look like the airplane. So we're going to get rid of the plunger wheels, and we're going to add where that wing would actually come out. and make sure that we're following that into perspective. So I indicated the tires, the plungers, so that you kind of have an idea of how we actually design things. Because the first thing was the Larry Boy Mobile. And we're going to indicate that the wings come out like that. So we're going to have those markings in there. So now we have a very nice loose grayscale drawing of what this mechanism, this machine is going to look like. Now we can finally commit to it. We also know that as we build this in the computer, we have enough space for the wheels to pop off and have these wings come out. So that's why they're sketched in this idea sketch. So let's start to clean this up now and really define the areas that we want to keep in this drawing. Looks pretty good. And we're going to indicate the tail. Now here's a little trick to show you. To show that these wings are actually coming out of the body, we're going to cut into the body a little bit. So it really shows from that silhouette that it's cutting into the body. And don't forget the plunger way back here. And we're going to make sure that we mirror this to this. And now we're going to back away from this, take a look at it. It's starting to look pretty good. Add a little bit of detail up here. We're going to show that there's a little chrome action going on. So we're adding a little detail. I'm going to come back in here. Put some shading in there as well. And take another look at it and just really define our outline. And since we sketched those out, we do know that we have enough room for those tires to fall out and the wings to come out. And we have the plane.
Now next up, kids, we're going to draw another character based on circles, Madame Blueberry. Now Madame Blueberry is similar in size and shape to Bob, but she's got a bunch of other stuff to draw too. She's got long hair, she's got eyelashes, and she always has a lot of accessories, which kind of makes her fun to draw. Okay, let's get started. Like I said, she's a circle too. So let's start off with a nice big circle on the page, not too small. She kind of gets lost, and always draw light so you can cover up lines later you don't need. Now she's not a perfect circle, just like Bob. In fact, I made her a little wider on the bottom here. And right in the middle, I'm going to draw real light lines. It kind of tells me right where the middle of her head is. But she's got big egg-shaped eyes, just like Bob did. And her nose is a lot smaller. She's got a very dainty little nose, just like that. Now, like I said, she has eyelashes. Long eyelashes, and remember in the first show with Madame Blueberry, she's always a little bored with life. So let's give her an expression that's just a little bit bored. Right about halfway in the middle of her eye here, I'm going to put her eyelashes in. Just this little S curve. See that? How it goes up near the center, and then we get to the side, it just kind of goes off. You only have to really draw one eyelash, one big thick one. And the same thing on this side. Just like that. Okay. There. Now when I'm going back over the shape of her eyes here, you see I'm making one just a little bit taller than the other. That's why you don't want to do dark lines first. If you want to change your mind later, it's okay. It's always good to make things a little uneven. Now for her pupils, we're not going to put them down here in this open white space because we said she's a little bored. So we're going to make these kind of half circles that rest right under her eyelashes. See? She looks bored already because she hasn't learned her lesson yet. And like always, we leave little highlights in the eyes. Sometimes if you're drawing real small, you don't have room to leave highlights. That's okay. But I like to. It adds a little personality there. Okay. Yeah, she gets a lot of expression in her eyes there, doesn't she? And Madame Blueberry always has this little mole off to the side, little beauty mark, just like that. Okay, and she's also one of the few characters that actually have lips. So we're going to draw about halfway down between her nose and the bottom of this circle. Just put a little line there. This is going to be her mouth line. This isn't the top of her lip. This is just actual the mouth. And it's kind of an M. You see that? Or it looks like a seagull flying off. All right? And then we're going to put in her top lip, which is like a taller M. And her lower lip is almost just like a big U shape. I'm going to come in just on the inside of that M, not all the way to the edge. And draw a nice big U shape. See, she's not quite happy, not quite mad, just kind of bored. Okay, now, obviously she looks a little bald right now. Nothing wrong with bald, but we're going to put a little hair on her. Okay, off to the side here, she's got a very soft curve. This is going to be her wig, because she wears different color wigs in the show. She goes from brown hair to blonde hair. She has to have everything, including wigs. It's like a big, it's not a perfect curve this way. I curve under and then over. I like to put a little line in the middle here to show the hair parting a little bit at the end of the curl. I'm not going to draw, she's going to have a hat. So let's go to the other side and draw her hair. Just inside the circle line, her hair comes out, and it's going to curl out on that side. Make it a little different from one side to the other. There. Nice little flip on the edge. Everybody following along okay? All right. Now our hat is rather tall, so I hope you haven't drawn too near the top of the page. We're going to draw an almost straight line across there. Almost straight. It's just a little bit of a curve. Make her hair tuck up underneath that. Her hat's going to be kind of tall, so follow this curve off the hair. So up, and bring it down on this side, curving down, so it's a little taller on this side than over here. And then, it's not going to be the same, it's going to kind of tuck around behind her. She's got this big, tall, floppy, very stylish, fashionably sensible hat. Like I said, she's always got accessories, so we're going to put this jewel right here. Just a few straight lines, kind of like a stop sign, only stretched out a little. See that? It's got all these, got a point on top, two straight lines down, and then a point on the bottom. And then if you can do another one inside, it's a little tricky. Take your time with it. There's a point on the top, two straight lines down, and a point on the bottom like that. And then you can connect the points like that. It makes a very sparkly jewel. Okay, she's also, other accessories, she wears little earrings, so we're putting like a little pearl on this side, where her ear would be if she had them. And another one over here. There you go. Now, Madame Blueberry doesn't sit on just flat on the ground usually, like Bob or Larry do. She's always wearing something kind of very fancy. So she's got this big boa, this big kind of a fake fur thing that wraps around her. About where the earring is, going to be a big round shape, sideways U that comes around. And then at the very end, let it curl down just a little bit. Almost in the middle. If you go a little past the middle, it might be even better. And right here, over the line of her body, because she's sitting inside it, it goes in front of her. Another kind of sideways S curve, past her mouth and down. That's just the end of that little fur thing she's sitting in. It's fake fur, though. Now it comes out the other side, and you want to make sure it looks like one of the like it's the same piece, like it wraps around her. So you don't want to start it over here, that's too high, or here it's too low. You kind of have to imagine this line right here, how it wraps behind her. Imagine it going all the way across and coming out the other side. So on mine, I'm putting it just kind of coming out behind the hair where the earring is. And this one, another big, nice big curve that comes right behind that end. And then right where her earring is, I'm going to, see that line extends there? It helps it look like it's wrapped around her a little bit more. See? Right under her mouth, just let it curve down so it's tucked right in behind the front side. There you go. That wasn't so hard now, was it? Basically just a circle, lots of accessories. That was Madame Blueberry. Kind of fun, huh? Now let's try drawing some guys a little bit harder. We're going to take a look at drawing the Gord brothers, Jimmy and Jerry. Now Jimmy and Jerry look a lot alike, so the trick is to really play up their differences. And remember to make them look hungry, because their hobby's eating. All right, you ready, everybody? Let's draw. Now you might want to turn your paper sideways, because they're going to be side to side, but I'm going to keep mine like this. Let's start off with Jimmy over here on our left side. And he's going to be a pear-shaped. He's a gourd, but he's kind of pear-shaped. Nice thing about gourds, they come in just about every shape imaginable, so you can make just about any shape you want. So he's kind of, his head is a upside down U shape. This again, draw light, always draw light at first. And he gets really wide on the bottom half. Just like that. And leave enough room over here, because that's where we're going to put his brother, Jerry. I get him mixed up a lot. Maybe you do too. But Jimmy's the short one. And his eyes, we're going to make him turn just a little bit. So we're not going to put his eyes right in the front like we've been doing. We're going to put one eye almost right in the center of his head because it's turned, and the other eye right beside it. Just like that. And his nose is a lot wider than what we've been doing on some of the other characters, like Bob. Bob's got a nose that's almost perfectly round. And Jimmy's is a little wider, kind of a squashed out circle. See that? And his pupils, like I said, I'm going to put his brother over here, so I'm going to make him looking up in that direction. Most of the others we've had him looking right at you, but we're going to put his eyes over to the side here. So draw a little oval right up next to the edge, not right in the middle because he's going to be looking up. And then another little oval in the same place on the other eye. Make them almost the same size. There, just like that, see? And again, color it in. Leave a little highlight for the light to be hitting it. There. Now I always draw the highlights, it seems like on one side. It doesn't matter which side of the eye you draw them on, just make sure it's on the same eye because it's a reflection and that means the light is coming from the same direction on both eyes. Jimmy's usually pretty happy because right now he's thinking about lunch. So we're going to draw this nice little shallow U shape right there. Just a little bit thick. And some of the things that make the mouths look better on veggies, if you can pull this off, it's kind of tricky. Make the line a little thicker on the ends than it is in the middle. You see how it's a little darker, just a little bit thicker? There, it gives them a little more personality. Now I can go back and darken some of those other lines we like. Put his eyelids in, just like that. And something we don't want to forget is he's got a stem on top. And right off his head curves
down like that, the stem will curve the other way. Has a little curve on top like that, and then curves back the other way. Now I made it pointing off to the side. That makes it, really helps us, makes it look like his head is turned. There. And darken around there, and put a couple little light lines on there to give it that ridged limb quality. There. We can darken his body up around here. There. And right beside him, of course, is going to be his brother Jerry. Now, Jerry's a little bit taller, and it's easy to tell them apart when we're doing in color, but today we're just drawing lines. So a little bit taller, just a little bit taller than Jimmy's stem. Come over here and just go a little bit up and draw the top of Jerry's head. Again, it's like an upside down U, a little taller than Jimmy's. And he gets wider near the bottom. Not quite as wide as his brother. But make sure you draw them on the same level, because they're standing right beside each other. Now if we wanted to get real tricky and put one of them standing in front, we would draw him lower and maybe bigger to show he's closer. So let's stay fairly simple right now. Put him right beside on the same line. Don't draw the line under there, by the way. We're going to do something else later. There. There, that's a Jerry shape if I ever saw one. It's kind of an upside down light bulb. Okay, again, he's got eyes. We're going to make his eyes, this is a little tricky. You're going to make him tilting back just a little bit. See, those ovals are just kind of tilting back. Again, one's in front of the other. Perfectly beside his, and his nose is a lot more round than his brother's. See, his is almost a circle. Now his eyes will be looking a little bit down. See, Jimmy's were looking up, Jerry's will be looking down at his brother. So put his pupils down the lower part, and this one will be touching his nose, just like that. See how you can make them look at each other like that? Again. There. Put his eyelids in. And Jerry's mouth is a lot smaller, where Jimmy's got this big wide grin. Jerry's mouth is usually just a little smile like that. He doesn't usually talk as much as his brother either. And again, put his stem on top, curve inward and inward, and a little curved line on top. It's almost like a little hat. And a couple of little lines inside to give that ridged stem quality. Now to make them look like they're sitting together, not just floating in space here, let's put a line behind them, like a horizon, or actually it could be like they're sitting on the countertop. But don't make it right underneath them, because that makes them look like they're sitting on a string or a trapeze wire or something. Come out halfway up and put it behind them. Make it look like they're really in front. Now the trick is making sure these lines go all the way across and match, that you don't put it too high or too low. So kind of draw it, lift your pencil, and put it back down. Same thing on this side. There. And as always, we can put a little shadow underneath them. Draw those oval, that flattened oval just like before, and shade it in. There. Wasn't so hard after all, right? Let's move on to shapes that aren't so round, things like squares, rectangles, and triangles. Now, two favorite characters around here are Junior Asparagus and Laura Carrot. Now, Junior and Laura are best friends. Even when they don't get along, they always end up forgiving each other. You'll see, too, how they can really change their emotion, not just from their eyes and mouth, like their expression, but also their posture. That means how they're standing. All right? So let's draw Junior and Laura. Okay, let's start with Junior. Over here on this side of the paper, not in the middle. We're going to draw them right here, kind of big. And like I said, we're working with squares, triangles, things like that. So very lightly, let's draw kind of a square that's slanted, or a rectangle-ish. It's slanted. I kind of have to find my place on the page here.
There we go. That's a good size for Junior's body. And make him slanted a little bit, because that's some of the emotion we're talking about. And on top, he's got that little kind of a circle with a point. See that? Okay. And right, he's got two eyes, of course. We're going to put one off to the side, just like this, and one right next to it, because he's turned his head just a little bit. Okay. All right, in the middle, let's put his nose. He's got a little button nose. Now, Junior's mouth is usually off to the side. So it's like a little U-shaped little smile. We're going to have his mouth open. So make it really big, like a little U and a big U right there. See that? And you can color his mouth in and make it open, but I'm gonna draw his teeth. He's smiling real big like that. Okay, I'm going to get a little more detail here. Let's draw the pupils of his eyes. He's going to be looking over in this direction. Almost, I'm standing here. He's kind of looking toward me. But actually, he's going to be looking off to the side of him. So let's draw this oval shape here off to the side, in the same place in this eye. See? Let's draw real skinny ovals too. Of course, like I always do, leave the highlight. Gives him that little spark. There, now darken around his eyes. Put a little bit of eyelid in there, but I have his eyes open really wide because he's really excited. And notice how it's slanted back. That helps him give him the emotion we were talking about, like he's leaning back. And a little fat here. I'm going to bring that in just a little. Maybe even just a little bit taller. There, that feels more like Junior. But I'm going to use that line for the bottom of his shirt, see? Get a little bit of curve because he's rounded. And the top of his shirt comes right here. Don't let it meet in the middle here. Put a little V, just like that. And then off to the side, put kind of these long triangles pointed down. And that's the collar to his shirt. And then his foot down here. It's not really a foot, it's just the end of his body, but we call it his foot. There. And there's Junior. But of course he needs a little texture on the end of his asparagus spear. So just kind of draw some half circles in there. Let them overlap a little bit. Make them nice and big, following that big pointed circle shape we made, just like that. There, that's Junior. Now, of course, we made him very happy and looking somewhere. It's a little tricky. We're going to have him looking at Laura over here. She's going to be a little further away, so she's going to be a little bit smaller, not so big. We're going to draw her about this big over here. So not all the way on the edge of the paper, not in the middle, somewhere in the, just kind of off to the side here. She's basically a triangle shape. Not a perfect triangle like this, but kind of a skinny triangle. Don't make her too small. She's not that far away. Just kind of like this. And of course she narrows more at the top. There. She's about a little less than half the size of Junior, looks like there. Okay, got that triangle shape. It's kind of bends as it gets near the top. Laura's basically a triangle here, not a fat triangle like you're used, but very skinny and narrow. It almost gets, it almost runs almost the same up. It doesn't slant in perfectly. Perfect triangle goes up and then slants toward the end. Now don't draw these lines too dark up here because we're going to put her hair up there later. Right here, we're going to draw her eyes. Big, round, egg-shaped eyes. Not too near the top. And a little off to the side because she's turned too. You see that? And she also has a little bitty nose. Now make her eyes near the bottom because she's going to be looking down here at Junior. It kind of looks like she's floating in space, but she's not. We'll get to that, don't worry. There. And Laura's got a nice big smile. Her mouth is usually right in the center. How Junior's, remember Junior's is off to the side? Laura's is usually right in the middle. Give her a big toothy grin there too. And 3 little dots on each cheek for her freckles. And she usually wears a little dress. So let's put this curved line here to show how it wraps around. And then comes down the side and a little bit wider than her body. Flares out. And then you can put a collar, which is like these little loops, just like that. If you want to draw some little flowers on it like that. 3 little flowers, that gives her a nice little dress. Now Laura has bangs in front. So she's got this straight line where her bangs go right over her eyes. And this upside down U goes on top where, and she's got usually has a little hair band right there. So do the U of her hair and then 1 right over it. And see how it looks like a little hairband tucked in there? And her hair is combed back in the back, and she's got pigtails. Now they're not braided, so they're a little easier to draw than braids. They're like little ovals, like little, one right there, another one off that, and then the end, which is like a little triangle with a raggedy end there. You can put little ribbons in it too. See how I'm doing that? Just these little curved lines in there. And the other pigtail comes off this side. Now it overlaps, so we draw it behind her bangs and her eye. See how that? You don't draw the whole thing. It wraps around behind. Another section right there, a little bit smaller. And then that triangle shape near the bottom. You can make it a raggedy end there. Or here it comes off. There. See, so it's basically a triangle shape and a square with a circle on top of it. Now I said, she looks kind of floating, so we don't want that. So we're going to draw the horizon behind her. So it makes them look like they're kind of standing down the street from each other. See? Just like that. And they're happy to see each other. They're standing up straight. They're giving a little slant to it. It makes them look kind of excited because they're seeing their friend here. In fact, if you wanted to put the sidewalk they're standing on, let's draw this line straight to here. Don't let it run right into Junior. That might look bad. Continue it on that side. And this on this side almost goes straight down. See, it's how it gets wider near us because it's closer. There, and there we have Junior and Laura standing on the sidewalk. All right.